Hello and hi, and welcome to Dr. English YouTube channel. This is Dr. Moafi, PhD in Applied Linguistics, and today's lesson is about punctuation. All right. Of course, I have to define punctuation first. It's the use of a special marks, as you can see, right, or a system of symbols. Why do we use it? When we are writing a piece of utterance or a piece of discourse or text, we need to guide our readers how to read it more easily, and it actually makes it easier to understand, right? So otherwise, without the use of punctuation, it would be more difficult to understand the text because we don't know where to stop, for example, or end the sentence, or where to pause, like a comma, right? Normally, when we speak as native speakers, we usually apply these techniques to our speech. When we are speaking, we don't use punctuations. Basically, we use other features that makes it clearer to understand on the part of our listeners. But when it comes to writing, then because the writer is not available, the reader should be able to read it more easily, right? One way of doing it is actually using or utilizing punctuation. So these systems of symbols or special marks, the use of these special marks can make this, in fact, a reality, and help the readers read better. What are they? The most important English punctuations are as follows: period, or full stop in British English. It ends a sentence, as you can see, right? I like English. Then you have to put a point at the end of every sentence, as you can see, right? In English, unlike some other languages, we use capital letters to begin a sentence and a point or a period at the end, or a full stop to end the sentence. A comma. Where do we use a comma? It shows a short pause. It separates items in a list, right? As you can see, for example, I bought apples. There's a comma. Bananas, another apple, comma, and then and oranges. Usually we use and at the end between the last pair, all right? Well, it's writing style. Some writers prefer a comma before and some writers avoid writing it. Anyway, the third one, a question mark. It's easy. It ends a question. Just as a period or a full stop ends a sentence, a question mark ends a question. Where are you from, for example? Okay? The next one, or the fourth one, exclamation mark or exclamation point. It shows a strong feeling or excitement. Usually, like when you're full of emotions, you say something like, great job, nice job, for example, to your friend or your teacher, for example. Or, no way, you don't want it to happen, right? So we end it with an exclamation point or mark. Apostrophe. Well, it's kind of easy to understand. We use it for two cases, two scenarios. Either for ownership or possession, like Ali's book, right? Like, for example, David's car. Or we use it for missing letters, especially in contractions, like don't instead of do not, as you can see, right? There is an apostrophe. It's an inverted comma, just one comma, right? But in the inverse position, like inverted, right? And we use it instead of that missing letter, okay? Or, as I said, to show possession. What about the quotation marks? Well, it's a pair of inverted commas. Actually, two commas, not inverted. The other two commas are inverted, as you can see, right? Quotation marks. We have double quotation marks and single quotation marks. That's another issue I don't want to get into more details about it. Just it shows, someone's exact words, like in reported speech or in direct speech. Actually, we use quotation marks, but in reported speech, we drop them, right? Like she said, there's a comma here. Note it, please. And then a pair of opening quotation marks actually starts the quotation, and then another pair ends it. We call it closing quotation marks, right? Like, I'm happy, it's the exact sentence or the direct speech stated by somebody, like she said, all right? Colon. Well, two dots, 2 points, one above the other, as you can see, or the other one below the other, right? It introduces a list, as you can see, right? Or explanation. Like, for example, somebody said something, usually in the press or in the media, or bring these things, for example. What things? There's a colon, pens, paper, and the book. I mean these things. Semicolon. There is a point and a comma below it, right below it, right? What does it do? It functions as a joiner, joining two closely related sentences. Like, I was tired, I went home. There's a semicolon in between, as you can see, right? Well, And the ninth one, a hyphen. Well, hyphen joins words together. Joins words together. It's a small or a short line, as you can see. All right. Well, it joins words together, or it makes compound words. Two words connected, right, by this hyphen. Well, like this sentence, for example, or this adjective that we used before, the teachers, well-known teachers, or a $20 bill, 20 hyphen dollar bill. This $20 altogether, these two words are used as an adjective before the bill. Or well-known functions as an adjective before teachers. Teachers and the bills are the nouns. All right? If you extend this short line and you have a longer line, we call it dash. What we use it for other situations. Like, for example, a strong pause. It's more than a comma. Or it adds extra information, right? Dashes normally separate ideas. So, like, for example, I was ready, there's a dash. Or so I thought. It means that I wasn't ready, obviously. Or I tried and I failed, right? These two sentences are closely related, right? Sometimes they use semicolons, but more often, because of this short, stronger pause or extra information that we add to our speech, we use dashes. What is the difference between hyphen and dashes? Once again, hyphens join words, but dashes separate ideas, not words. Okay? Don't forget this. It's kind of confusing, but if you think about it more deeply, you'll understand what I talk about. Well, and parentheses. In American English, we call it a pair of parentheses, but in British English, a pair of brackets. Anyway, that's another story. Parentheses, normally we use them in these last three, like 11th, 12th, and the 13th items of punctuations. We use them in plural tense, forms, or as you can see, parentheses, not parentheses, right? Or brackets, not bracket. Braces, not brace, right? Why? Because we are talking about a pair, actually. Anyway, well, parentheses add extra or explanatory information, right? Extra or explanatory information. Something like dashes, all right? Like the results, which were unexpected, change the theory, right? Which were expected is a piece of extra information. Well, what about brackets? Well, brackets, as you can see, they're not like parentheses, although British people call it this square brackets, right? Anyway, brackets insert clarification or changes inside quoted materials. Inside quoted materials, right? Like, because when somebody says something in direct speech, like she said, I will submit it tomorrow. But as readers, especially if somebody else, reads this piece of utterance or speech, they would not understand what it refers to. What is the reference or referent of this it? Well, if we know it, we know that it is referring to the article, right? So the referent or reference, in fact, is the article. So we put this article, this kind of clarification inside this quotation in brackets, in a pair of brackets. And last but not the least, braces. Well, group items, mainly in math, programming, or technical writing. For example, the set A-E-I-O-U contains vowels, all right? Well, don't forget the vowels. I explained it in phonemic symbols, and you can drop me your comments under that category, and it's a very important lesson to learn. But altogether, in this video, I talked about punctuation. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to like and subscribe.